Hello, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news. I hope you guys all enjoy. And as you can see, we slowly tipped over the scale of 6,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. We talked about that yesterday, and this is now the 5th day in a row with a CSGO video, which of course I do love. So thank you guys all for the great comments. And gonna be another great video out there as we have some huge announcements. The first of which revolving around Cloud9 and their newest 5th, which will be a stand-in player. Huge shouts to Ryan at Rush P Media, guys. I'll link his Twitter down below. He's been helping me out a lot lately, guys. It will be a stand-in player though, allegedly according to Nell, as well as Ryan B, as well as of course the Cloud9 social media manager, and it should likely be Kioshima. And of course, Kioshima even adds to that with his tweet this morning, guys. And this will be in time for Br0 series in Copenhagen over there in Denmark. And so this roster will probably not be permanent. If you look at, of course, currently for the European Open qualifiers, it's actually Kioshima and Scream and Michaelili alongside XMS and Nuki. They've been playing together for that team known as Left Out. And I don't really expect Kioshima to ditch that roster in attempts to actually qualify for the minor. So this roster of this 5-man roster, of course, for this new Cloud9 team adding Kioshima will probably not be permanent, although you never know what's going to happen. Kioshima could easily ditch those guys, and again, there's really no repercussions if Cloud9 does go for a full European roster. We'll see what they do in the future, but it does seem likely we're going to see an event for the first time ever, Kioshima alongside Flusha and Golden. And again, you look back any time in history and you say that, of course, 2018 Cloud9 is going to play with these 3 guys, I would say you're completely crazy, but it's going to be very fun to see as well how this roster does do. If this is going to be a solution, I know that's kind of a meme, of course, when it comes to Kioshima. I don't see it being a permanent fix for the roster, but nonetheless, it's going to be very fun to see the guy play. But also, there's been so much drama this past week revolving around FPL as well as Face It Mikey. If you guys do know, FPL this past week on a rampage of bans. I think 20 plus players banned. Alongside that, though, players being kicked from FPL. The long list of players does continue to actually grow. I do want to talk about one, though, and that's actually a player known as Br0, who was welcomed and introduced into FPL pretty recently here. He's 16 years old, and on top of that, actually has some history around his account, which apparently got him banned from FPL. Apparently he has an account from 4 years ago, which he allegedly did share with a friend who apparently cheated on the account. The account was actually VAC banned, and of course, if you have any connected accounts to your main account that have been VAC banned, you cannot participate in FPL. So just to clarify, guys, Face It Mikey is following the rules here. He is not choosing, it's not the community choosing to vote this guy out. It's a clear and distinguished Face It Pro League rule, guys. You can actually play Face It matches with the VAC ban. You cannot play an FPL or FPL Challenger with a VAC banned account. Now, there's also 2 more things on this story as well. Of course, when you look back on the surface, he was 12 years old when he actually had that VAC banned account, which of course, if he did share it with a friend or if it was himself, you have to wonder. Of course, many of us out there probably cheated ourselves. I cheated in RuneScape when I was 12 years old. I won't lie to you guys. It can't really bite me back in the butt. I don't play the game too often anymore. I used to bot in RuneScape and fish lobsters and sharks. I was young. I obviously didn't know that the of course prolonged future repercussions of this, and you have to imagine there's some kind of fine line, right? When you're so young and you're either cheating or of course giving your account to other cheaters out there, you don't know the long-term repercussions. You don't know you're going to be a potential pro CSGO player, and so that's the surface area. But also uncovered by Infranorse, I'll link his Twitter down below for all of you guys as well. It's actually a forum post by Br0 just last year when he was 15 years old, and he actually goes on to say some very suspicious things that might of course actually contradict what he said about sharing his account with a friend and it being VAC banned because his friend cheated. He said in that forum post he had a matchmaking due to a matchmaking ban is why his 3 to 4K hours of in-game time is actually spread across a couple of accounts because of apparently an in-game matchmaking ban XD. He even throws in the XD, and that's where it almost draws a line of was he cheating? Was he openly cheating? Was it his friend? Because if it was his friend, I don't think he would have said, matchmaking ban XD. So there was contradicting stories out there, and that might be why, according to Infranorse, that might exactly be why that Face is not going to let him back into FPL. So there's a lot of surface drama. Of course, if you're cheating when you're 12 years old, you might not know the future prolonged repercussions, but the story does almost contradict itself. Although Br0 did take to Twitter and said he has chat logs confirming that the account that was VAC banned was actually shared with a friend, and it was his friend that was actually cheating. So more coming on that story next week, guys. But also on top of that, some more drama out there revolving around my favorite player out there, Doc. And I'm going to reach out to Doc for more confirmation about this, so come back Monday. We'll hopefully have more updates about this story. But apparently, he did post this tweet this morning, and it does say pretty much due to his how shady he is online, the posts he does online. If you guys know Doc's background story, that could be I mean, yes, he's been shady in the past. I think definitely better as of recently as well. But apparently that's why he was not being signed. Now, due to rumors out there, apparently it was actually Team Sprout that was going to sign him. And of course, Sprout, actually one of our first 2 teams alongside Fragsters to grab a spot in the European closed qualifier for the minor. So they're doing pretty decently, and definitely, I would say, a rising team, a team that's been lingering around the same spot for the past, I would say, about a year or so, ever since their major attendance, but still a team that's been doing decently well. And again, a team apparently who was going to sign Doc until he was very shady online, whether it be his Twitter. I think that's pretty much the only thing he's been shady about, or of course not being very open about his past. Again, I'll talk to Doc about this, guys, hopefully give you more details about this, but apparently his Twitter account, much like Loba, if you know his story, is the reason why he was not being signed to pro teams, at least yet. And very lastly, for drama, we're gonna have a couple stories following this, and I don't know why I want to keep on calling this drama, but it's actually a very ironic situation, a situation we've seen a lot in the past, and that's with Bpro's former member. He was actually signed to Windigo this morning. That's Poizon. Most notably, apparently their best player over there on Bpro, and there's some contractual disagreements. As of right now, it was actually Poizon allegedly being benched on that roster because he wanted to be signed by Windigo. If this rings any bells to all of you guys, remember Yugi. It was actually, I think within the past year or so, maybe a bit over a year ago. My timeline's a bit sketchy right now, but it was actually Yugi who was playing for Tricked Esports, and Tricked Esports allegedly found out that he was going to try and be signed by Heroic later that year, and so they benched the guy. They tried to, of course, not have him be bought out. Eventually, Heroic did buy him out of that bench spot because he was going to sit there and just kind of age like a fine wine for a while. They weren't going to even let him play. And also, if it does remind you guys as well as Cirque, remember Cirque? He played for the Outlaws, and NRG was trying to sign him, but he allegedly had signed some contract with the Outlaws. Eventually, he went to NRG anyway. So all these stories do align, and this is actually one of those stories once again, guys. Poizon this morning, though, apparently did break his contract himself. He terminated it. As of right now, according to HLTV, there might be some contractual agreements there, but Windigo has signed Poizon, and that was Bpro's best player. Just a lot of controversy out there. I'm glad he signed. Obviously, I'm on the side if a player does want to join some other team out there, he has the full right to, as long as it's under legal terms. And a lot of these players have been signing some sketchy contracts out there. Always review the terms is what we keep on saying. But also, in some other stories out there, guys, some smaller stories. It's EUnited. If you guys have been watching them so far in ESL Pro League, I wouldn't say a struggling team, but they're right around the halfway mark. And I think last time I checked, they were 6 and 7 in the standings. And especially ever since our last major qualifier, where they almost qualified for the major qualifier, they almost made it past teams like Rogue. Very, very closely. Unfortunately enough, they kind of have stalled out ever since then. And unfortunately enough for a player like Ace, he will be replaced by FNS, which I have to think on paper probably an improvement, but United's small roster change out there, guys. Hopefully some benefit for them in the future, and you can definitely expect them to try and qualify once again for our next major qualifier coming up here very soon, and that will be in February, guys, for Katowice 2019. EUnited has now changed their roster. And speaking of that major, guys, very lastly in CSGO news for today, it's going to be a packed episode come Monday because I do expect some changes and some great results. We talked about last episode all the tournaments going on, of course, the next few months, and especially the minor qualifiers for the major are starting. I cannot wait to see some uprising teams. Speaking of an uprising team, again, who actually, like I said previously, alongside Sprout, grabbed the European closed qualifier spot for the minor, to qualify for the minor, that's actually Fragsters. Fragsters has now come forward, guys. They are free agents starting January 1st of 2019, which is actually before the major. So I guess they're probably going to cross their fingers if they do manage to qualify for even just the minor, let alone the major qualifier. This team is likely to get signed. The timeline there definitely does add up, though. The major in February, they are now free agents of January 1st. I do believe they'll find out if they qualified for the minor right around that time, if not before that time. So the best of luck to Fragsters, guys. Apparently going to be free agents here very soon, due to, of course, financial reasons. But as always, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for an amazing week. I think we gained over 1,000 subscribers this week. The comments have been amazing. You guys have been watching the videos and hopefully enjoying them, because I definitely have. But as always, my name is Jake. I will see you guys back here Monday for a crazy packed episode and a crazy next week as well. But hope you guys all enjoy. I'll see y'all then. Okay. See ya.